What is going on, guys? It is Ahmed, and I am back today with yet another update for everybody. And we're going to be talking about VYNE Therapeutics, VYNE. I know a lot of people are pretty upset after the reverse stock split. Their shares did significantly go down about 18% from where I started my position personally. But again, fundamentally speaking, the company, I still have no issues or no worries that I can't see this being propelled forward. Because right now, I know a lot of people do panic when things go through reverse stock splits, but let's talk about it in more detail. Let's talk about why they decided to do so. Because again, this is something that, they probably didn't anticipate that their stock was going to be doing so well Q1. Because again, a lot of their products are currently on the pipeline. A couple did get FDA approval recently, but we'll talk about it in detail here in a second. But I do want to give a quick shout out to the Patreon page, like I always do. Again, we're at 156 members strong. Guys, if anyone wants to be a part of the 1K to 10K penny stock challenge, I think that's going to be my main focus moving forward for 2021. I do want to continue to make DD videos on different pharmaceutical companies that I'm interested in, pharmaceutical products. And so, again, feel free to join the free Discord. I've created a community where you can ask questions openly. No one judges in there. If you're a brand new investor or an expert, all I ask is for everyone to just go in there and, talk and have great dialogues and dynamics with one another. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get back into VYNE Therapeutics. So yes, as we know, early last week, they went through and announced that they're going to be officially doing their reverse stock split, which was again a reverse stock split of the company's common shares of a ratio 1-for-4. So for every stock that you pretty much owned, for every 4 stocks you owned, they reverse split it into one stock. So I think we all got in around 240, 230 a share. It reversed the reverse stock split completed, and now we know that the shares are about $8.60 a piece. So ignore the little bump there. That was just due to the market lag between the time they were able to. Because I know a lot of people logged into their Webull and Robin and were like, wow, I made a lot of money on VYNE Therapeutics. But on Discord, we were addressing that that's not actually money that you made. It's just completing that because it basically was saying that for every 4 stocks that you had, they just all went 4x, which again, that's not what happened. So sorry for everyone that thought that's how it kind of worked, but it really doesn't. But as we see here, it did go down about 18% over the week. So am I personally worried about it? Absolutely. I am not worried about it at all myself. Again, my videos are not for financial advice, guys. Always remember that. Do your own due diligence. Please do your own research before putting in any money into any company. Not only for the videos that I make, but anybody else on the YouTube space. Always do your own research before putting in your hard-earned money into stocks. So, guys, you have to understand one big thing with this is that there was an annual meeting for the stockholders back in August of 2020. And that's when they decided to do a reverse stock split. Because again, they had 205 million outstanding shares, which is that number is just way too big for a pharmaceutical company. So again, they then decided we want to do a reverse stock split to have about 51 million shares, common shares afloat. So as you can see here, the reason they decided to do that is they kind of wanted to keep their number of shares aligned with other people that are under the same sector. So I could probably pull up a different company. I don't know. Let's maybe do Pfizer, for example. If we look at Pfizer stocks. So if we look at Pfizer stock, let's see here. You could probably see how many shares that they have afloat. So their volume here, 36 million shares afloat. So again, compare 36 million shares versus what we said for VYNE Therapeutics before the reverse stock split, 200 million shares. That is a lot of shares being out there, which makes it seem like their company is not very valuable, right? Because you're dividing its true cost compared to its competitors by 4. So mathematically speaking, it just makes it not look as enticing as a stock sitting at $2 when it's truly worth about $10 relative to its competitors like Pfizer and other companies. So again, when we look at its market cap though, that's truly how I look at a company and identify what they're worth. $440 million, it's still a microcap penny stock. So regardless of what happened this week, I know we saw an 18% decline in price. I think what that means for me is a potential to average down. So originally, I did make a video on VYNE Therapeutics way before the merger. So I think it was at $6 a share pre-split. So again, even if you bought in back then, you're still up significantly on your initial investment. But for anyone that bought in right before the reverse stock split, thinking that it might be something that will propel the stock or traject it upwards, and that didn't happen, maybe it's time to potentially think about averaging down if you're still long on the company. So for me, guys, as a reminder for the things on their pipeline, we know what they have. They have a couple different products. One that just got FDA approved and launched 2020, meaning that their Q1 earnings are going to reflect this product, which is Zilixi, the minocycline topical foam, which again is going to be used for acne treatment. And we went in detail about its mechanism and how I truly think it's a great product relative to some of the competitors in the market. Amzeeq, we know, has been approved for a while now, and it's been launched and it's been doing very well. Not seen at my community site specifically, but I know a lot of other areas and pharmacists have seen this one in practice after I asked some of my own peers. But regardless, remember with VYNE Therapeutics, I always say not only should we look at the stock from its potential from the pharmacy side, from the patient side, we have to look at what do Wall Street think of the product? What are they doing? So if you could see here, a lot of the Wall Street analysts, the 5-star analysts here, are rating this as it's considered a strong buy. Literally across the board, all these different analysts are saying that it has a strong forecast moving forward. So this is all these numbers that you see here are actually pre-split. So if you multiply all these by 4, that's kind of where they see this going. So again, you can see a $12, which is a $36 target compared to where it is now at $8.60. There's some huge upside potential for VYNE Therapeutics. So you could still kind of ignore these numbers on the side here because again, they just need to update their site. But again, the other thing we need to look at, what are institutions doing? What are the people who have a lot more shares than you and I could ever think of or even imagine having? Look at BlackRock, right? A very reputable firm. They have very strong track record. They have 12 million shares of VYNE Therapeutics. Perceptive Advisors, 27 million shares. Are they selling? No, they're still holding on to their positions. Look at this, a couple different, if you see anything in the green, of course, like I mentioned in my previous videos, these are companies that are increasing or establishing positions for the first time. So as you can see, most people are holding. A couple did sell out their shares, which is totally fine, but what are the majority of these firms doing? Again, no pun intended, but again, these firms are firm believers of the stock. They truly think that it's going to do well moving forward. Look at JP Morgan. On the 19th, just updated, 40,000 shares. They're still holding strong. So for everyone that's been panicking, worrying, if you're not looking at the company and its longevity and its long-term value, then that's why you're worried about an 18% drop in price over the last week. We know last week was a red week. We know it went through a reverse stock split. And generally speaking, that's not good news for a company, right? Oftentimes they do that because they're afraid of delisting scares. But we know VYNE Therapeutics is complying with all the different exchanges. The NYSE, we know that from earlier this year. Looked at the beginning of January. They got the update there that they were in the clear for the next 12 months or whatever it was. So regardless, you can go back and watch that video. But I'm telling you all to just, remember, that's why I always say, do not buy into a stock unless you're a firm believer of the company and you think it's going to do well long term. Some people are swing trading these penny stocks, which is absolutely understandable. Because again, it's a nice way to make maybe some easy money here and there. Because if you're day trading this, look at this, up 60% on, just a 7-day spree, and then you could sell off. And you see, it's very volatile, and that's how these plays are. But if you look at the 6 month here, over time, you're seeing again, it goes up in the upward trajectory, regardless. So I think for strong pharmaceutical companies, yes, you can day trade them. Yes, there's going to be a lot of price manipulation, getting to the point of where it becomes well-established company and outside the penny stock range. But at $440 million, if a millionaire with $50 million decides to play with VYNE Therapeutics, he puts in $50 million. That's going to make it go up, potentially 15%, right? So that price fluctuation, that price manipulation will create buying pressure, and more people are going to try to enter into the stock, and they're going to get burned the most because they're going to have that fear of missing out. So I've talked about the psychology, and we always have to remember, if you want to buy into a company, find an entry point you're comfortable with, and if you're long-term on it, don't look at it on a day-to-day basis. Create multiple portfolios. That's what I do. One portfolio I look at on a daily basis for more, day trading habits, and just to make sure, I get my fix for that, because I know we need that as stock traders. But some of my long-term things like VYNE Therapeutics, I have that on a separate portfolio where I don't worry about it, and I'll look at it in a month. I'll look at it in 3 months. Unless bad news comes out, or I know the big dogs are selling out these firms, the hedge funds, then that's when I'll start getting worried and figure out, hey, there's some fundamental issue with this company. But for right now, VYNE Therapeutics seems like a thumbs up for me. Not financial advice. I'll reiterate that every single video. Do your own research, do your own due diligence, and until next time, everybody, keep investing.